Good evening, traders. It's Mark here from the day trading room. Time is 22:08 London time, Monday, the 11th of April. A little bit behind with my videos. I did a recording for late last week's trades on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday over the weekend. Haven't had an opportunity to upload that yet, but I will do. That's quite a long video. It's just like a 20-minute video discussing a few bits and pieces. But anyway, today only a few trades for me today. I jumped on the Nasdaq this morning only because actually I've talked a little bit about this in the video which I will upload. Why I started looking at the Nasdaq during the opening drive. But anyway, long story short, this was a lot weaker than the rest of the markets. If we look over at the Dow, the Dow was actually pushing up and consolidating near highs. Ticks were very undecisive, nothing more than 500 either way. But anyway, really looking at this, we pushed up, started to roll over, momentum gained. There was the gap fill level. This candle here, we pulled back, and there was a little scalp short for me. Really, because I did quite like the short. I didn't like the opening drive action on the Dow. Didn't quite fancy a long. Nasdaq has been sort of stopping things recently on the Dow and the S&P. So rather than wait for the Dow to roll over and potentially get caught in something, I thought, okay, well, if I can get a quick scalp on the Nasdaq, then great. So that was that. Dow wise, really today it was interesting. If I just bring up the Dow cash chart, we can see before the day started, I had an idea really that, the overnight range was very shallow. We were in sort of this sort of range overnight. By the way, I've got different charts up here. I'm on my laptop at the moment, so I've just thrown on some charts. I haven't got my normal settings on, so if you think I've changed around bits and pieces, I haven't really. I'm just on my laptop, so that's why the charts are different, and there's bars and there's candles, and then the layout's slightly different, so bear with me on that. Anyway, before the open, really I was looking for any sort of probe up to this high, this 12,450 high, with a bit of volume, and perhaps looking for a rollback, and really anywhere at the gap fill or lower, looking for a cycle back to this 12,400 level. Treating this at the moment, if I just show you a few more days, really that anytime we've gone far away from it, we've actually pulled back to the 12,400 level. So unless volume told me otherwise today, that was the sort of trades I was looking for. Unfortunately, when you haven't got the volume there, you can't be too aggressive. You can't be too aggressive because the tape reading edge becomes a lot smaller. So really, you got to try and read it as best you can and take a few trades. So anyway, I took a long here at this low at 6 o'clock. Now if I go back to the Dow, I was ready for it here, all ready to rock and roll. We pushed down, there's the gap fill. I just thought, great, if it just pokes under, nice low tick reading, I'll take that and scalp it out as we pop back up to a high tick reading. But unfortunately didn't quite make it. It found some support at yesterday's cluster here, and bounced back up there, so I missed that one. But anyway, I was there for the second one. We pushed lower, and actually it was an okay setup really, even though that was the better in terms of ticks. We've got minus 1,000, pulled back to 0, so there was your nice 10-12 point scalp based on that if you'd have taken it there, but it just wasn't low enough for me. Missed that. Anyway, it rolled over again. Volume wasn't quite as high. Ticks did hit minus 1,000, but not low of the day. This time it did fill the gap. If I flick over to the cash, did fill the gap, so of course I'm going to take that. Took that and scaled it all out. Really not looking for any more. I did half think we could roll back to 12,400. That was the sort of pre-market plan, that cash that is, and reality probably should have held on to some, but I was happy to take some off on the impulse higher. Didn't really feel there was many edges going on today. We're now trying to push a little bit lower here, but I have called it a day unless something happens in the last half an hour. I will look, but I'm a little bit uncertain to get involved in these levels now. So anyway, that was a Dow trade. Pretty patient with that, waited and got that. Nasdaq opening drive. Oil wise, let me have a look at today. Really quite volatile oil. quite volatile to the downside. Didn't really capitalize, but I felt that I was always looking for a continuation, and often a lot of the pushes to lows were were met with sort of a wick type pattern, and they popped up. And I was looking for all throughout the day. I mean, I took a couple of scalps which I'll run through in a moment. But if I just make this chart slightly bigger, yeah, I was looking for much more of a counter trend move to get short, but never really got it. Never really got it. So I didn't really want to chase stuff. I had a little scalp trade here on the long side. First time we probed under the 112 level, probed under, found a little bit of support, and bought that for a little pop up. Like a 12-13 cent tick scalp, nothing major there. And towards the close, I missed this. I didn't get involved in this. I missed it. But anyway, here towards the close, saw the sellers coming in. Took a nice little short just as we broke the 110. Got filled at 97 because it just pulled back, went below and pulled back. Got my fill. We rocked straight back down to 74, I think it was 75. Put my stop at 87, so I banked 10 ticks. It was in the last minute of trade. Was hoping for this move that we're getting now a little bit earlier. Didn't get it. Popped back up and stopped me out for a plus 10 ticks on that. So yeah, I didn't quite get what I wanted on it. I was hoping we'd break lower, and it would have been fantastic if we'd have started taking the lows out here. Then great, it would have been a nice 50-cent trade. Didn't happen, but I wasn't going to come away with nothing. So as I say, tightened the stop up and got the 10 ticks on that. I think I'm missing off a few little trades actually on the Dow, but there were reasonable low edge scalps, if I'm honest. I think really the trade of the day was probably this buy here, and yeah, should have held that to 12,400. Should have held it. Instead, I came all out on the first impulse. But anyway, that was that. Didn't have much response to 12,400 here. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Not a few opportunities. Should have made more of oil. If I'm honest, found it difficult to get a read on it. As I say, I was looking for that high probability unwinding and rolling back over. It didn't really get it. I wasn't going to chase lows, and in a way I'm glad because there were lots of wicks today. This, if I'd have tape read that correctly, that would have been a nice trade as we broke the 110. Great exhaustion trade for you guys out there who are trading that. But as I say, just wasn't there, wasn't watching it, missed out on that, and that was probably the trade of the day on oil in terms of a counter trend play. As exhaustion through there, nice wick, good volume. Even if you're late in that, it looks like it was a good 20 or 30 cents to be had. But anyway, can't complain. Took some out of the market, which is all we can ask for. So let's see what happens tomorrow. Oil will be interesting. See what happens overnight. See where the Dow closes tonight. See how far away from that 12,400 it closes. 12,400. And we'll see what happens. So I'm going to upload that video from last week, but it'll be a little bit out of sync. The orders will be a little bit out of sync. So that's it, traders. As always, manage your risk, good trading, and I will be back with another video shortly.